from the Fort Lee PX bookstore. This is Girl on the Go, Rebecca Gormley, and I am here with Rod J. Mustanski, author of the Adam's Way Trilogy and Enough is Enough, what all new aspiring writers need to know. Hi Rod, this is like a homecoming for you, isn't it?
It sure is, Rebecca. Since I retired here from Fort Lee from civil service with over 32 years of federal service, each time I come back on this post to do a book event, as you said, it's really like having a homecoming.
Well, being Girl on the Go, I have a few questions for you.
It'll be my pleasure, Rebecca.
What made you want to become a writer?
Well, it goes back, I always had a knack to tell stories, even, well, today because I'm a writer, but as a small child, as a toddler, we used to go, the family back then, used to go to the triple feature movies, double features. So as a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, we used to go and I watched my favorite characters on the screen. And then when I would go home in the neighborhood, I used to go off knocking on doors, and I'd add my own little twist to what I remember seeing on the big silver screens. And the adults just loved me. They thought I was the cutest and adorable thing, plus they loved the stories that I added to making up what they didn't see themselves at the theater. So I always continued telling stories, and it kept on going until I had this great idea for a story. But since it dealt with man's creation, and there are two schools of thought, there's the religious leaders and then the science approach, I took the liberty of mixing that all together to a wonderful story, but I didn't know if people would really be interested. So my brother Stan and sister-in-law Evelyn were in visiting, and we were sitting around, and I said, hey, I have this great idea for a story. I told it to them, and they said, Rod, you have to write that story. It's when it's got to be told. So when they left to go back to Minneapolis, I turned around the next day and started typing and doing that manuscript, and this is where I am today after 4 books. So I've been telling stories and entertaining the folks out there.
All right, can you tell us how your Adam's Way Trilogy different from other books?
Well, the Adam's Way Trilogy, when I wrote the first book, it was going to be a standalone, and I was going to go on to do a book about a baby boomer based upon my own experiences. Before I started to get a chance to start typing any of that out, the readers from the Adam's Way, the first book, A New Beginning, was coming back. They kept on asking the same question over and over. When's the sequel? When's the sequel coming? Kept on saying, there's no sequel, no sequel. When's the sequel? So after hearing that about 100 times, I said, well, maybe it would lend itself to a follow-on book. So that's how the Adam's Way Trilogy got its start. And so I started and finishing the book, the first book, the second book, the third book, all the readers are saying the same thing. They love it because it's so different from a lot of other books. Because there's some people that just love mystery, there's some that just love romance, there's some that just love action. Well, my books the readers are saying that it has it all. It's got action, suspense, mystery, romance, and some science fiction woven into it. And with all that, the readers are saying they can't put the books down until they get to the last page, which makes a new author like me very happy. So with that all encompassing, having everything thrown into one book, it's really they're really unlike a lot of other books that are out there.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about your nonfiction book, the Enough is Enough?
You sure can. That came about kind of through trial and error. When I started writing, I knew nothing, because when I retired, I always wanted to write, so I started writing. So I went down a lot of dark alleys, getting beat up, not knowing who to turn to or whatever. So, and I learned as I went, day in, day out when I was doing things. So after I finished the first 2 books, I started doing a lot of speaking and events, and people were asking me over and over, can I help them? What do you need? I kept on asking. Well, how did you stay focused at your keyboard doing your first 2 novels? I could not sit there and type. I get distracted, so what did you do? And I said, well, it's not rocket science. What I use, this is what you can use. So I tell them what I did. Well, then people start asking, I got my manuscript, what do you do with it? Well, in your case, this is what you should do. Well, this went on and on and on, giving this advice to people, and finally my son Steve said, Dad, why did you write a book about what you did doing the first 2 novels? So that's exactly what I did. My guest speaking and all this other stuff, I rolled it all in. So it's an A to Z guide for someone wanting to write, or they're already in the process of writing, already finished their manuscript, do not know what to do with it. And it takes you all the way through the means of finding a literary agent, publisher, and if you don't go that route, how you go about doing self-publishing, which is what I am. I'm an independent writer. So the book is out there, and that's what I speak from, doing my 2-hour presentation. And the readers are coming back and thanking me for doing something which is going to help them.
Final question. What can the readers expect in the near future?
Near future from Ron J. Let's see. Okay, I'm planning on doing some of the events here at Fort Lee, like I've been doing. I've been doing that about over a year and a half. I'm also doing some book events down in the Tidewater area at Langley Air Force Base, over at Fort Eustis. I plan on doing more in the Richmond area at McGuire's Medical Center over there, the Army Veteran Medical Center. And I've been doing libraries, presentations at the libraries, and currently within the next year I do want to reach out and cover all the regional libraries within the state of Virginia, presenting my 2-hour presentation, because like I said, there are people out there that are trying to find out how to write, what they need to do about getting their books in print. It's a great program, so doing that. And then also I plan on doing my 5th book, which is going to be unlike all the others. I'm going to collaborate with my friend, which I mentioned before, Dick Criswell, and tell his story, which is a thing that he has dealt with UFOs, had his own personal encounters. He's worked on government commissions, briefed President Clinton on the results, and so now's the time that he wants to tell his story and thought people should hear what's really going on with the government and these commissions and everything else. So we plan on starting that sometime this winter and hope to see it, get it out by mid next year, 2011. And that's basically will keep me busy for the next year and a half, 2 years. Yes.
Well, it has been a pleasure talking
thank
with
you,
you,
Rebecca.
Ron J. And if you would like more information on the author, please go to his website at www.rodjmustanski. Again, if you want a thrilling book that will just knock your socks off, please look up Adam's Way Trilogy.